더 나아가게, 더 나아지게, 더 할 수 있게, 더 될 수 있게, 더 이롭게, 더 이루게, 더 좋은 세상을 만들기 위해 함께 한 걸음 더, 함께의 힘에 기업 시민 포스코의 힘을 더합니다. 기업 시민이 되다. Power of With 포스코. 감상하는 우주, 관광하는 우주가 아닌 솔루션이 되는 우주. 자연재해, 인류의 안전, 자원 고갈, 에너지 문제까지 지구의 난제를 해결하기 위한 우주. 우주를 향하는 기술이 아닌 지구를 향하는 기술을 연구합니다. 지속가능한 내일, 한화.
대자연은 생명의 이야기를 품고 있다. 백라이트 없이 스스로 빛을 내는 LG 올레드 TV. 정확한 컬러와 놀라운 디테일로 생명의 경이로움과 마주하다. LG 올레드 에버.
여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lee Chae-young. I'll be the MC of this special session on UNICEF 75th anniversary, protecting children in an online environment. As we're going through this COVID-19 pandemic, we want to reimagine our new future. And in this forum, it is very meaningful that we're going to discuss issues related to our children. As we're preparing for the post-pandemic world, we need to think about our next generation. So here with us, we have four important people. First of all, we have Ka Byung-jung, UNICEF Korea President. Next, we have Si-won Choi, UNICEF Regional Ambassador, who is also a member of Super Junior. In addition, we have children of the Children's Council of UNICEF Korea, and also we have Charlotte Petri Gonitska, UNICEF Deputy Executive Director, and we have Ki-chul Lee, UNICEF Executive Director of UNICEF Korea. I would first like to invite Ka Byung-jung. Please give him a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jung Ga-byung of UNICEF Korea. It is a pleasure to be speaking before you at World Knowledge Forum 2021 and also to celebrate the 75th anniversary of UNICEF through this session. It is particularly meaningful that we are able to share the difficulties and challenges of children as they struggle through COVID-19. It's extremely meaningful that we are having this session. This session, which commemorates the 75th anniversary of UNICEF, will be an opportunity for us to go through the various challenges that we are going through as we struggle against COVID-19, and particularly the challenges faced by our children. It's almost 2 years since we have been going through this particular pandemic, and amidst this unprecedented difficulty, UNICEF has continued with its tradition over the past 75 years. We have been working very hard to work for the health, safety, and happiness of our children in parts all around the world. UNICEF has worked under the slogan of relief without discrimination. We have field offices in 155 developing countries, and we are working on various projects that focus on nutrition, healthcare, safe water, education, safety, and emergency relief. And we are an organization focused specifically on the welfare of children under the UN umbrella. And Korea has a special relationship with UNICEF because of the 196 countries that received help from UNICEF. We are the only country that has changed its status from that of a recipient of aid to a donor. UNICEF lent their hand back in 1950 by providing us with emergency aid after the Korean War, including medicines, blankets, and school supplies. And for 43 years, Korea received support from UNICEF. And ever since 1994, thanks to the economic growth of Korea, we were able to become a donor. And this is the only case amongst the countries that have received aid from UNICEF. Not only that, but UNICEF Korea, which is conducting various activities and projects in Korea, has been doing quite well because currently there are 430,000 people who are donating individually within Korea. Thanks to all of these people who have not forgotten the help that they have received, UNICEF Korea is now the 5th largest donor, along with the US, Japan, Germany, and the UK. Regardless of country and ethnicity, religion, and politics, UNICEF has provided its relief and aid to children around the world, and it has received great credibility from the international community thanks to its collaboration with countries around the world and thanks to their networks. And UNICEF is thankfully the only giver of aid that has remained on the field in Afghanistan. And thanks to that, we're continuing to provide its support to the children of Afghanistan. After the pandemic, UNICEF is working with WHO and is taking part in the COVAX facilities so that the vaccines are being supplied around the world and so that our children can be protected and take part in education and self-care efforts. And up until August of this year, we were able to supply vaccines to 138 countries around the world, amounting to in the amount of 218 million people. Despite our efforts, there is still a long way to go, and many children are still suffering because of this pandemic. The supply of humanitarian aid is quite difficult because of the lockdowns and closures. And particularly, children of vulnerable status are having difficulty because of the impact that COVID is having on basic social care and also health care. Schools are being closed down, which is having an impact on their nutrition, education, and safety. And because of job loss, many children are not being cared for properly. And therefore, vulnerable children are finding it more difficult to rely on a social safety net because of the impact that COVID is having on their schools and on families. Not only that, but the online environment is causing more problem. We don't have a secure safety net that protects children on the digital environment, whereas there is a widening disparity amongst those that have access to digital devices and those that don't. Not only education, but also in various areas, we are seeing that children are not being protected properly online. And unless we take safety measures, children will be more exposed to difficulties online. In this UN 75th anniversary session, we will be going through the various challenges that children are facing on the digital environment. We will take this time to go through the challenges that they are facing and also look for ways and the roles that we can play to secure safety for our future generation. I think that is actually a way for us to look for a way forward in coexistence. I would like to thank all of you for your participation, and I'd also like to ask you to be with us until the end of this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Ka Byung-chung of UNESCO Korea, for your kind words. Now, more and more children are learning and playing in the digital environment, but is it really a safe environment for all of our children? And in this regard, I'd like to invite someone very special, Siwon Choi, who is the UNICEF Regional Ambassador, who's been communicating with children all around the world. Please welcome him with a big hand.
안녕하세요.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Choi Si-won, UNICEF Regional Ambassador for East Asia and the Pacific. Today, I'm standing before you with a more serious heart. So far as the UNICEF Regional Ambassador, I was able to meet with children in Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and many other countries in the region. And I was able to communicate with them and be connected with them. It is very meaningful that I'm here to talk about my experiences. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the organizers of the World Knowledge Forum, as well as the staff members of UNICEF for their support. Before I became the regional ambassador of UNICEF, I've been working as a member of Super Junior, and I've gone through many experiences in the entertainment industry. And as I've seen some talented people in the entertainment industry making an unfortunate choice, it was very heartbreaking, and I was able to understand how this online environment is challenging for children around the world. In 2018, I visited the Malaysian office of UNICEF, and I had a chance to talk with teenagers about cyber violence and cyberbullying. And I received this question: how do I handle malicious comments and cyberbullying for celebrities like you? And I said that when I am having a hard time, I would open up to someone dear to me and I share my thoughts, because it is not easy for me to handle malicious comments myself as well. And if you don't feel like there's nobody, then please contact me. That's what I said. And as I was getting ready to come back to Korea, I received 2 messages on my social media, direct messages from 2 teenagers in Malaysia, and they said that they decided to be more hopeful about their future after my honest and frank talks. And as I received and read these direct messages from these teenagers, I once again decided to be more vocal about this very important issue. This was what happened before the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, more and more children around the world are spending more time online, and I am quite concerned about the kinds of situations they're faced with as they are more and more online. It may vary depending on the region, but in some countries, the use of internet has increased more than 50%. Of course, in Korea, children are coming back to physical school classrooms, but in many parts of the world, there's still remote learning happening. And now our children are exposed to a completely new environment, and this is where they need to envision their future. As children have to spend most of their time at home, they may utilize online games, social media, and video chatting programs to interact with their classmates and friends. So technology has offered some opportunities for communication. According to a survey by UNICEF Korea from August 9th till 31st for 661 teenagers between the ages of 7 and 18, 26% use videos and audio and other content online, and 21% of the children said that they benefit from remote learning as they can learn while staying at home. So these were the benefits of using technology in the pandemic era. And they're able to pay attention to learning, and they don't have to commute to school, and they can reflect on themselves as they spend more time alone. So these were some of the other benefits of being at home and using online tools. However, the online digital environment is not very friendly because in the same survey, 19% of the respondents said that they were exposed to some uncomfortable and unpleasant online content. When you think about it, there are a lot more risks and dangers that you may imagine that may threaten the well-being of our children. And according to the survey, we were able to understand that children are exposed to various kinds of risks. According to the survey, children were most exposed to harmful content in the digital space. And the survey showed that 19% of the children said that they, by accident, saw some harmful content. As they spent more time online, they would be exposed to discriminatory comments, abusive comments, and violent content. And there may be some very dangerous information and content that may elicit suicide or self-harm. And 10% of the children said that they were confused about disinformation and fake news. Just like harmful content in the digital space, there are many online marketing contents, and our children are vulnerable and they're exposed to many different kinds of fake news and fake information. And 9% of the children said that they would often be exposed to non-proper digital data collection and usage. As children spend their time online, their information will be collected by digital marketing companies, and businesses are able to gather and process personal information of children. Therefore, we need to be more careful, and we need to consider how to protect privacy and personal information of children. And 4% of the children said they were exposed to cyberbullying and malicious comments. They spend a lot of time online without much control, and they are exposed to many stress elements, and these may lead to cyber violence. Our children may not have sufficient experience online, and they're not really able to discern good information from harmful information. And so they may be elicited to harmful online games and chatting services. And 3% of the children said that they received obscene content from strangers, so they were exposed to digital sexual violence. As they spend more time online, the risk of these children being exposed to potential criminals in the digital space will increase as well. Due to social distancing, children are having a difficult time finding friends online, and they want to be connected with other children. and such attempts may lead to sexual exploitation. Despite these risks, 36% of the respondents in the survey said that they do not know how to report such cases. It means that they're exposed to various kinds of risks and dangers, but they don't know how to handle them, and they don't know how to report these cases to the authorities. How can we protect our children in the online environment? And on this topic, 29% of the respondents said that we need a policy for policy to protect children online. There should be an online platform that can be easily accessible for children, and we need a safety guideline that children can understand and so that they can behave in a way that will protect them. And I think this is a very natural demand and valid demand from the children. Now, the COVID-19 situation forces children to be online more often than before, and it is the responsibility of the older generation to take care of them and protect them in the digital world. Now, we have many panel members here as well as the participants who are interested in this topic, and I sincerely hope that there will be more such effort. And I myself will continue to work hard, listening to the voices of the children, and I will also be the voice of these children. All child is entitled to the right to live in a safe and healthy environment, and we need to offer good guidance and indicators so that they can grow in the good environment. I'd like to thank you very much for your kind of attention. Thank you.
좋은 말씀.
Thank you for those words. Now we will be meeting the members of the UNICEF Korea Children's Council online. We were unable to invite them in person because of the social distancing guidelines, but we have their views on screen. Because this session is devoted to children's rights, I ask you to keep your ears wide open. Hello, I am Ko Yun-seo with the Children's Council. With more time online, I think children are more exposed to dangers and that we don't have a secure environment online. If I look around, I see friends being met with dangerous people, potentially dangerous people. These people talk to us, and we see many adults trying to reach their hands out to us. Also, we have cyberbullying and sexual exploitation, as well as language abuse online. Because we also have to use our digital devices for long hours, there are lots of kids that are becoming addicted. I asked my friends how long they used their devices, and there were some who said that they used their phones for more than 10 hours a day. I feel that schools need to provide regular training to us, training that we can really relate to about how to be safe online. And when we have online classes, I think it's important for teachers to provide us with safe sites rather than giving us links to YouTube. Rather than that, I think it would be better for teachers to allow us to access material through safe sites. And for that, we need our adults to work harder. I think that your attention should be focused on children, and that should also translate into action. Hello, I am Kim Min-sung of the Children's Council. Because we have longer time online, there were times when inadequate and obscene material was exposed to us. And what was more uncomfortable was that we had filters in place, but nonetheless, this kind of material came up. And I think we need an efficient and safer platform for us to use. Hello, I am Kim Sung-yan. Children are vulnerable, and online, I think that we are more exposed to dangers because of anonymity. And cyber violence is a huge problem to kids like us. In order to solve this issue, I think schools need to expand cyber safety education. And also, when kids are exposed to that kind of violence, we need to be able to respond, and we need to know how to respond through training at school. And I think that the government should also come up with policies to make it mandatory for schools to provide this kind of education and guidelines. Thank you. Hello, I am Song Jae-hee, third year of middle school, and I'm also a member of the Korea Children's Council. There is danger of various things happening online, such as sexual harassment and a loss of our personal information. Also, there were cases where obscene material would come up. And I have a personal experience here, is that on Facebook, which is a platform that kids really use a lot, I saw that in some of the responses that people put up, there was a lot of sexually explicit content, which took me aback. And so I want to ask those who run these SNS companies, first of all, I want you to be more stringent in your censorship. And second, create a site or app or platform that can be used by children only. I think this will help in making a safer environment for us. Hello, I am Lee Dae-han, member of the Children's Council. Because of COVID-19, lots of people are using online platforms, which is exposing lots of problems. I asked my friends in class and found out that most of the kids used digital devices on average 2 hours and 30 minutes each day, and some kids even used it over 4 to 6 hours daily. I think companies should find out which kids use games a lot and send them automatic messages, and after 2 hours you could make the game shut down. Also, we see lots of inappropriate ads popping up here and there. If these ads are inappropriate, I think that we need a system where these ads could be shut off and not shown to kids. I see online that there are too many ads coming up. And also, the fonts on the screen are too small for us, and it's difficult to locate the information that I want. So I think companies should conduct surveys to know what kids like me want. And I think that will work. Through that, you can work harder to make a safer environment for us. Hello, I am Choi Eun-woo with the Children's Council. I'm sure that all of you have had some kind of inconvenience or problem happen as you work online. There are people that put up obscene language, but that kind of language isn't censored or safeguarded because they not only use Korean alphabet, but also English numbers and other emoticons. I also feel that there needs to be better work by government and businesses to work together. Hello, I am Choi Ji-won. Because of lots of time at home, I think naturally kids are working online more as well. I feel that my friends and I are being more exposed to dangers such as sexual exploitation online as well as privacy. I had a friend that was exposed to sexually explicit ads without her will. And also, even in class time, when the teacher would put up an educational material, there were times when that kind of an ad or these kinds of messages showed up and took the whole class by surprise. I also believe that the older generation need to work to make sure that this does not happen in the future. I hope that there are better platforms for us and programs that can work as gatekeepers and keep us safe from those. Also, if you develop these kinds of platforms or programs, I'm sure that children will be safer from online sexual assault and various dangers. Also, I think that we would have better access to funner and more interesting content. I hope that these opinions are reflected in our policies so that kids can use the internet in a sounder way.
So a warm round of applause for these children. That was the message from UNICEF Korea Children's Council. The Article 3 and Article 12 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child stipulate that the child who is capable of forming his or her own views has the right to express views freely in all matters affecting the child, and social welfare institutions, courts, governments should put the best interests of the child as the primary consideration. This means that we need to offer venues for children to express their views so that we can better improve the situations for our children. Now, I'd like to invite Charlotte Petrie, Deputy Executive Director of UNICEF. She was the chair of the Development Assistance Committee at the OECD before becoming the Deputy Executive Director of UNICEF, and she has more than 20 years of experience in international development. Now let's take a look at her video. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
And thank you for welcoming me to the World Knowledge Forum 2021 to commemorate UNICEF's 75th anniversary. I'm Charlotte Petrie-Gunitska, Deputy Executive Director of Partnerships at UNICEF. Wherever you are, thank you for joining us. This year, UNICEF is turning 75, and I would like to start by acknowledging Korea's unique history and the special role it plays at the heart of our organization. Korea is the only country that has transitioned from a recipient country to a donor country in the history of UNICEF. And if that was not impressive enough, less than 30 years after the founding of UNICEF Korea, it has catapulted Korea into a top 5 country in terms of private sector contribution to UNICEF. We are all inspired by Korea's unique energy and story. So I'm pleased to have a chance to talk about one of the most pressing challenges and opportunities that children are facing in Korea and around the world, even before COVID-19, engaging in a digital environment. As the Children's Council of UNICEF Korea mentioned earlier, children's engagement with and within the digital environment increased as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and physical distancing measures. According to UNICEF's State of the World's Children's Report in 2017, young people aged between 15 and 24 are the most connected group in the world. 71% are online compared to 48% of the total population. This is especially true in Korea, an IT powerhouse where over 90% have internet access. According to a national leisure activity survey conducted by Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism in Korea, young people spend over 80% of their free time on weekdays and over 60% of their free time on holidays on digital devices. This figure is likely higher now. UNICEF works to make the digital environment a safe place for children to learn, specialize, and express themselves. We partner with governments to advocate for necessary regulation and with tech companies. We also support ministers of education to teach children digital literacy and online safety skills. In Korea, UNICEF has partnered with various child rights organizations to support the government in strengthening the national legal framework to protect children's rights online. One key development is the criminalization of online grooming of children for the purpose of sexual abuse and exploitation. Ensuring laws are in place and implemented in order to protect children and ensure perpetrators are held account is an important component of the response. This important work is also being supported at the global level. Earlier this year, the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child adopted General Comment number 25 in relation to the digital environment. The document clarifies what the digital environment means for children's civil rights and freedoms, including rights to privacy, non-discrimination, protection, education, play, and more. General comment number 25 makes it clear the risks and harm that children face online are serious and diverse. However, the general comment also highlights that digital environment affords new opportunities for the realization of children's rights, including opportunity to have their voices heard in matters that affect them and much more. As the debate on how to design child rights respecting digital environments intensifies, we have a unique opportunity to make safe access to digital tools a game changer in fulfilling children's rights. Failure to do so creates another dividing line. Businesses have a unique and critical role in creating digital services that protect children's personal information, keep them safe, and support them to take the most of the opportunities that digital technologies can offer. Business responsibility to respect children's rights has long been recognized, and this responsibility also applies online. UNICEF can support the business community in doing that. Developed by UNICEF, the UN Global Compact, and Save the Children, the children's rights and business principles provide a framework designed to guide companies on the full range of actions they can take to respect and support children's rights through their core business actions, but also through policy commitments, due diligence, and remediation measures. We have seen businesses in different parts of the world championing family-friendly workplace policies, child online protection, responsible investment practices, and global supply chain management using the principles. And we want to amplify this until a child rights lens on responsible business becomes second nature to all actors. Throughout the pandemic, we have witnessed the power of solidarity in overcoming difficulties. I am confident that through the power of partnerships, we can overcome the challenges children face online. UNICEF is calling on businesses to partner with UNICEF Korea in its efforts to better respect and support children's rights online and throughout their business activities. Realizing children's rights in this rapidly evolving digital world requires efforts from everyone. We ask all stakeholders, including children and young people themselves, parents, caregivers, schools, businesses, media, and governments to play their part in ensuring children can fairly access and share information, expand their knowledge, and experience a safe digital environment. On behalf of everyone at UNICEF, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to Korean donors and people who continue to relentlessly support and engage with UNICEF's mandate.
Thank you for 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much. That has been the message from Charlotte Petri-Gonitska, UNICEF Deputy Executive Director. Please give her another round of applause.
샬롯 부총
In her message, she mentioned that the role of companies is crucial in supporting the rights of children, and we need to make sure that businesses are becoming more responsible in protecting the interests of the children. Now we are holding this very special session on the 75th anniversary of UNICEF. Now I'd like to invite Ki-cheol Lee, Executive Director of UNICEF Korea. He's going to give his words in closing up the session. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ki-cheol Lee, Executive Director of UNICEF Korea. As we celebrate the 75th anniversary of UNICEF, we have prepared this very special session where we're discussing how to protect the rights of children in the digital environment. We heard from the expert, and we also heard from the children. First of all, Choi Si-won, Regional Ambassador of UNICEF. He's such a celebrity and a member of Super Jr., but he's been very much dedicated to protecting the welfare of children, and he's serving as the regional ambassador and also a special representative of UNICEF Korea. Mr. Choi mentioned that there are many harmful contents and there are many risks online, and he went on in very detail about the kinds of dangers and risks, and he also shared his own experiences and also shared some statistics from the recent survey. And it was very effective that he shared with us these very details so that we can better understand the current situation. The most dangerous risk that children are exposed to in the cyberspace is the kinds of harmful content. And after Mr. Choi's remarks, there was a video message from the members of the Children Council of UNICEF Korea. And we need to understand the role of schools, the government, and the businesses. First of all, schools need to offer training, education on online activities, and businesses also should make sure that they have a system in place to protect children from harmful content, and they need to be responsible in protecting the rights of children. And finally, the government has to develop an educational platform for children, and the government should also improve its regulatory framework. And finally, we heard from Deputy Executive Director of UNICEF, and she introduced the role of businesses in protecting our children in the cyberspace. And she presented the children's rights and business principles that have been promoted by UNICEF all over the world. Companies need to adopt a policy that will ensure the well-being and the rights of children. Only then businesses will become sustainable. The business environment is changing rapidly, so you may think that businesses have no room to think about the rights of children, and these rights of children may not be relevant to businesses. However, we need to understand that those companies who support the rights of children, those who act in the best interest of children, will receive good reputation from the consumers and from society, and then they will become more successful and sustainable. In addition, UNICEF Korea has been working hard to protect children in the digital environment, and there have been some specific achievements. First of all, we have the advisory council, the legal advisory council of UNICEF Korea, and with their support, we were able to be successful in legislating a bill to revise the existing law to criminalize online grooming. And we also made recommendations to the government to strengthen their regulatory framework for children protection. And also, we translated the very important article on protecting children's rights in the digital environment, and we delivered that to the government. And also, we are promoting the children's rights and business principles that the UNICEF has come up with. In addition, we have the online protection guideline that we have distributed to schools and other relevant institutions. Of course, we need to have a right set of legal framework, but at the same time, it takes the entire society. Every member of the society should be committed to protecting the rights of children. Only when we have a better awareness, and only when we all work together to report any cases, and also to make sure that we create a better environment online for children, we can make improvements. I believe that the session is not only a gathering of experts, but also this is a session where individuals, parents, schools, social institutions, governments, and businesses all join forces, and I hope that this will be a time for you to reflect on what you can do and what kinds of contribution you can make in promoting the rights of children in this digital world. And with that, I'd like to conclude this special session on the 75th anniversary of UNICEF. I would like to express my gratitude to more than 430,000 sponsors and supporters of UNICEF. Thanks to your contribution, all this has been made possible. I would also like to express my thanks to the participants who are joining us online and offline. Thank you.
네, 세션
Yes, we have heard from Executive Director Ki-chul Lee, who has wrapped up this session. Let's give him another big round of applause. In order for us to make a better digital environment for our children, we were able to look into how important it is to listen to kids, to hear what they feel. Giving them the opportunity to express their voices is so important, but unfortunately, we are unable to do this so many times. And I think our efforts should start from the voices of our children. With that, we would like to conclude the session celebrating the 75th anniversary of UNICEF on protecting the rights of children online. I'd like to thank all of our participants who have joined us both on and offline. Thank you so much for your attention.